We agreed to withhold the identities of the authors over concerns of retaliation. Important to note, we have not been able to verify, again, any instances of retaliation within the department. Before help can arrive, you've got to make the call.
911, where is your emergency?
Current and former Kershaw County dispatchers say they're concerned the compounding issues of morale and staffing are forcing people out of the agency, meaning fewer dispatchers to pick up the phone.
It worries me that our community does not know how at risk they are. Who has to get hurt for our administration to open their eyes and see that there is some type of dysfunction within our department to start asking questions?
So far, we've managed to keep up with it. So far. We're being worn out. Or the people who are left are being worn out.
County Administrator Vic Carpenter stressed the public is safe.
And there's no evidence that our citizens are currently or ever have been at risk or will be in the future.
WIS has identified no situations where dispatcher staffing has put the public in harm's way. However, county records show staffing has gone down. Between the end of October and late January, the agency lost 3 employees and added 2. The agency is budgeted for 23 full-time employees and 3 part-time employees. As of late January, there were 16 full-time dispatchers and 1 part-time dispatcher to care for a county of 65,000 people. The current and former dispatchers tell me there are 3 dispatchers on each shift when 4 to 5 are needed.
The calls have sat on the board for a time that's not acceptable. Not acceptable at all.
County dispatch scheduling records give mixed support for the claim that only 3 dispatchers are working each shift. While it is routine that only 3 dispatchers are scheduled, that number can actually jump up to 6 depending on the day and the time. What is clear, however, is that the dispatchers at Kershaw County are working large amounts of overtime. County records show that over 12 weeks, the agency tallied almost 1,400 hours of overtime. That's 76 hours per dispatcher over 12 weeks. In one case, I found a dispatcher worked more than 85 hours of overtime in a 2-week span. Both the dispatcher and Carpenter said that schedule was voluntary. Is letting him do this safe for him or for the residents or for first responders?
I've got no reason to believe it's not. Does it wear them out? Absolutely. Going forward, there's something that we're going to look at and consider. Absolutely.
Carpenter says the county will look to head off similar situations in the future. The dispatchers also raised concerns about the way agency management treats its employees.
I can pick up the phone and I can answer the phone and be cussed out. That I'm prepared for. That I know that can happen. I can get screamed at. I'm prepared for that. What I don't come to work for to be prepared for is the hostility that you feel when you walk into the room. Oh, it makes you feel terrible. I know I drove home from work many a night just crying the whole way home. Out of frustration, out of anger, I guess out of a lack of being able to feel like there was something I could do about it.
Carpenter says the county is actively looking into the concerns raised in the letters and weighing how to address them. The county has worked to improve staffing. It increased the agency's full-time salary budget this past fiscal year. In January, the county council briefly addressed the situation.
If there's something wrong with the supervisor, you should be woman or man enough to stand up and come to the deputy administrator. We have a fair staff. Danny Templer will absolutely look at both sides. Nobody's job is going to be in jeopardy if they've got some issues going on and they go above their supervisor.
Councilman Jimmy Jones stood by his comments when we interviewed him, but also vowed to address the issues raised. How much urgency do you feel the county has to have on this issue?
Immediate, and I'm going to hold administrative staff responsible for that.
County Chairman Julian Burns said he will look to Carpenter on the next steps to take.
We value feedback no matter if it's anonymous or otherwise, and all feedback is good feedback. So every employee in this county needs to know that if they have something to say, it'll be heard and respectfully answered.
So in addition to the budget bump, the county raised new hire pay to $15 an hour to recruit that talent in. Veteran dispatchers did get a pay bump as well, but they expressed frustration that they're now only making minimally more than the new hires. It's unclear if there's the will or the financial flexibility to make changes to their pay before the next budget comes in. But here's what we do know. Through late February, there's still more than half of the full-time salary budget left. However, that overtime budget, the amount of money they've set aside for overtime, of course, largely used up. The fiscal year runs through June. So obviously a lot to talk about here.
Absolutely.
And that's why I encourage y'all to go to WISTV.com, read all about this, because there is a mountain of information to get.
Right.